the World Cup review, and we've had a lot of texts here, and we've got different callers as well. We've got, people wanting to defend Messi, but then we've got other people wanting to ban Argentina. What do you make of, FIFA saying they're going to open up an investigation, Coley, into the conduct we saw Paredes coming out like Tyson Fury, punching some of those Spanish players? I mean, pretty ugly scenes at the end of the tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just, for me, these type of players that think they can go around. Who was it that he was slapping around? Was it little Gavi?
It was multiple players, mate. It was like a bulldozer. He just lost his head.
That was at the end. He got a red card at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And look, he come on at half time, and you thought he played the full game, didn't you?
I was like, has he not been sent off?
No, I said, I can't believe he's not been sent off. He's come on and he's just straight away left something on someone, a hard tackle. Then he goes, and then after Enzo, he was quite lucky not to go after that as well, because he kicked out at someone at the edge of the box, and I was flabbergasted that the referee didn't go for his second yellow, because that was a second yellow. He was nowhere near the ball, and he's hacked someone down. So I'm thinking, what's going on? And he kept on doing it. He kept on pressing these buttons, and the referee would not succumb to saying, do you know what? You got to go. You got to walk.
I do think it were a shocking refereeing performance, Colin.
Yeah, listen, there's letting things go, and there's come on.
Yeah,
like, because we know the style of play that Argentina actually do. We know that they're gonna come out. They're hard as nails. Well, pretend to be, as you say.
I think it's all. They're bullies.
Yeah, they are bullies. But they come out, and you know what they're gonna do. They're trying to disrupt the Spanish team. Now the referee knows this before the game. They already know what type of match they're gonna do, because no one can live with Spain when they're passing the ball around. So what they can just be the great disruptors to try and get to the end of the game, close to the end of the game, and then try and nick it at the end. We knew that's what their game plan was. But during the game, I just think the referee didn't manage some of these. The only thing he was banged to rights to do was give Enzo a yellow card for that tackle. But he had to go because he'd already been done for dissent.
Yeah.
So I think if the referee had his own way, he wouldn't even given. No, and he wouldn't have done it. But he was just banged to rights.
And do you know what? And we'll talk about this after the break. Imagine if Argentina had won. Imagine the questions we'd be asking about that refereeing performance. Because I think the referee will look back at this.
Questions will be asking at FIFA.
Yes, the referee will look back at this, and I think FIFA will look back at this and think, thank the good Lord Spain won that game, because that refereeing performance, in my opinion, was an absolute disgrace. And how there was only one yellow card up until I think the 80th minute is just crazy
beyond
to me.
me.
We're underway now in a bit of a World Cup review, whether that's the World Cup final. We thought it was a bit of a turgid game. The Argentinians made it a dirty game. There was obviously distasteful scenes at the end of the game, and there has been some questions about Lionel Messi and what this sort of means for his legacy. Of course, if he won back-to-back World Cups, look, nothing can take away from his status as one of the greatest of all time. But GJ, the Spurs fan, has called up and wants to defend Messi. GJ, how you doing, mate? And what do you want to say?
How you doing, Max? How you doing, Carl?
Yeah,
right?
doing well, thanks, mate.
DJ?
Yeah, first of all, just before, very quickly, rest in peace, Kevin Keegan, and thoughts with his family.
Yeah, well said, mate.
So Lionel Messi, do we all agree that he is one of the GOATs?
Yes. One of the GOATs, probably is the GOAT now.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I mean, for me, he's the third coming of the GOAT after Pele and Maradona. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't compare eras. So I always say those three are the kings of football. I want to defend him because he's coming in for pelters, and I don't know what for. Well, I mean, the guy was at 39 years old, the best player in the tournament. He should have won the Golden Ball. Why didn't he win the Golden Ball?
I don't know, because he didn't win the tournament.
Yeah, and do you know what? I had this conversation earlier on, mate. I agree with you. I do think Lionel Messi deserves to be the best player of the tournament, but I'm afraid we live in an era now where unless you win it, you've got an outside chance. So I agree with you on that. But one thing I would say, mate, is I don't think he covered himself in glory, and I don't think it tarnishes his legacy per se. But I didn't like to see him being the captain of a side that behaved so appallingly, and I didn't like him trying to get Cucurella sent off. And I know, look, he's a born winner and all that, but I just thought it was a bad look for him.
Yeah, Max, I completely agree with you. I'm a big Messi fan, right?
Yeah,
I remember when he come on the scene with Ronaldinho, and I was ashamed of that. When you're trying to grass up someone else to get them sent. Yeah. Nice. Sure, the funny thing is though, what people don't know is Declan Rice covered his mouth 3 times.
I know. I saw it. I've seen it across the whole World Cup. It's just, do you know what it is? It's just if the referee catches you. That's all it is. Yeah. So you can't do it and catch someone else doing it and try and report him.
Or if someone grasses on you.
Yeah, it can't be a telltale. You can't do that.
Snitches get stitches, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly that. But when Declan Rice did it 3 times, where he covered his mouth.
Yeah, he was playing with fire.
Yeah, and Messi could have easily grassed him up in that match, and he didn't. But Why? Go on. Because so Carlton, my theory is
conspiracy theories. I love this. Go on. Go on.
So now, what I think is he realised that against us, he's thinking, I don't need to grass up Declan Rice to get him sent off. We can do it. Yeah. But against Spain, he's thinking we're down to 10 men. We're desperate. Anything goes. But what I was going to say was, like, Pele, obviously Pele and Maradona. Maradona's legacy hasn't been called into question despite the hand of God. And Pele, who's like almost like whiter than white, has got a clean record. People forget in the 1970 World Cup semi-final, he elbowed this guy in the face, smashed him in the face. That was a clear red card. You can Google AI. I've seen the videos, right? Because my dad is a huge Pele fan. I'm a big World Cup nut. I know all the stats. But Pele wasn't whiter than white as well, right? All the GOATs, right? Those 3 have all got a dark streak in them.
And maybe that's what makes them brilliant, GJ. Maybe you need to have that side of your game in order to be one of the greats. And I don't think it tarnishes his legacy. I just don't think it was a good look. That's what I think. Yeah,
listen, when the lights, camera are always on you,
they're going to catch something.
You're going to catch something, and then you're going to be like, I'm not having that. You know what I mean? But it doesn't take away from what they've achieved in this life and this game that we all love. So, look, there's all going to, as you said, GJ, there's always going to be someone going to pick a hole in someone's armory somewhere.
But I do think there's some fair criticism from last night. There's some fair criticism.
Oh, definitely, but you got to understand, emotions are running high. Yeah. You're the current holders of the World Cup. Exactly where you are right now is like it was slipping away from you, and you've been enjoying the and reaping the benefits and the rewards of being a World Cup winner, and that's getting taken away from you. And that was why that's why he's crying, because this is going to be his last chance, and it was coming away from him.
Hey, keep your calls coming in 03717 223344. We'll head to a couple of those in a moment. I just want to read a text out. This is from Sammy. He says, "Good evening, gents. Unfortunately, this World Cup's going to be remembered for the outside pitch activities, whether it's the Somalia referee treatment or the treatment of Iran and Uruguay and many more stuff. Argentina, shocking behaviour. The player at the end needs a 10-game ban." Sammy, the Man United fan. I mean, I would like to think that there's still a modicum of class and integrity within FIFA whereby they absolutely throw the book at Paredes. You don't necessarily think so, Coley?
Nah, they're going to say, do you know what? It was just emotions running high, and I hope that he doesn't do it again. That's what's going to happen. He's had his red card. And I think that they're going to say that's enough there. But Paredes, he was looking for trouble. He was looking for trouble as soon as he come on.
Yeah, mate.
He was on it. Like, I don't know what type of who told him to go and perform like that, because he could have easily got sent off if it was a more sensitive ref. And he's gone on there and he just done what he could get away with.
Well, I tell you one person who wouldn't be happy if that happens and Argentina don't get the book thrown at them. It's Naz, the Man United fan. Good evening, Naz. You think Argentina should be banned, mate?
Yes, boys. Good evening to you both.
Good evening, mate.
Carlton, I saw you at Upton Park, so legend for me, mate. So
I hope I didn't bore you off too much.
Stop it.
Did I score?
My relatives were in East London. They were West Ham nuts.
Okay.
I followed him. Great guy. And also with Kevin Keegan.
Yeah.
I actually saw him several times playing live.
Wow.
What a bloke. I'm a United fan, and that was a good rivalry, Newcastle, Man United.
At that time,
Yeah, brilliant. But in terms of Argentina, this has been going with that country since 1966. You all remember Ratin getting sent off against England in the quarterfinals. They've done it all along, all the way through, and until you take proper action. Now, I'm not excusing Messi one bit. He's the captain of that team.
Yeah.
He should set the standard. He should set the leadership. And if you can't get that leadership with the coach, it was even worse. And then what we saw at the end of that game, if that happened on the street on a Friday night, they'd all be in cells. They'd all be locked up.
Exactly.
So what difference does it make?
It's unbelievable. Do you know what it is?
The individual players, the Argentinian FA.
Yeah.
If you don't stamp it out now, then you'll get the Serbians, you'll get the East Europeans who just like leave a mark on you and so on and so forth. It'll get out of hand.
Well, look, no doubt, if FIFA don't do anything, Naz, it sets a precedent. And that's why I'm worried about what you're saying, Coley. And I don't disagree with you. I see a world, potentially, where they just get away scot-free and they say, let bygones be bygones. But you have to clamp down on this because otherwise this becomes an accepted part of the game. And look, we don't mind a bit of physicality. The game's going in many ways, but that was just too far.
I was over the top. Listen, was it over the top? That reminds me of the old days, really. And that's
you were talking about your whiplash last night.
Right, listen, it always used to happen. Like I've still got trauma in my body because of how many times a player would, if they're not even going to get the ball, they'd head back the back of my head when I'm going for a flick on. You know what I mean? So, and then, or they'll push you in your back whilst you're up in the air and there's nothing you can do, and then your neck flicks back. So I'm still carrying the wall marks still today. But yesterday, because the game has changed physicality wise, I was surprised to see some of these challenges just waved off. Because in this day and age, some of the challenges that were on display yesterday, some of them are the straight reds, but they were protected for some reason, which, for the old school, they would say, remember there was the thing tackle, the Enzo Fernandez tackle.
Or he flipped him over kamikaze stuff.
Yeah. I initially said, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I just thought, not wrong with it, I think it was a foul, but not a yellow. And then, not a red it was, sorry.
You thought it was
I thought it was a straight red.
Yeah.
And what happened is that I saw it as a yellow. I said, okay, fair enough, yellow will do. But then my mind is like, I've seen that happen loads of times in my days and in the days before me, and probably not even a yellow card comes out. Yeah. It was just a late challenge and it's just unfortunate he was there, But now it's a bit more sensitive. So I didn't understand why he's got the referee was a bit too old school for today's game.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt, right? And that's what it is. But look, in the melee, when there was all the fighting and everything, Max, I saw a clip today, which was quite amazing. He had Lamine Yamal on his knees praying, right? And then there was just like people in the background but Lamine Yamal just seemed so peaceful. Yeah, he just praying to God. And then in the background, there was just all fights and everything. And this reminds me a little bit of society, like what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
It was a picturesque moment. If I implore you to go and see it, please, because it's unbelievable just to see him praying and he was just at peace. And he just won the World Cup. And then behind him, there was just all sorts going on. There was all sorts of pushing, shoving, people just like really arguing. I was like, wow. That is lovely. That's a lovely moment there for Lamine Yamal.
I tell you what, I was so impressed with Lamine Yamal. He didn't necessarily have the best game.
No.
But the Argentinians were doing everything they can to rile him up. I think it might have been Paredes, it might have not. He's essentially been rugby tackled off the pitch.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even lash out. He just turns around quickly.
Yeah.
The Argentinian fans are right there because he's been pushed off the pitch, giving him pelters, and he stays calm throughout. We're talking about a teenager. And I think you've got to give him credit. Whatever we think about these stars, these big names that are overpaid and have big egos and whatever it is, you've got to take your hat off to a young talent like that with the world at his feet, can buy anything he wants, and he kept calm. And I hadn't seen that picture, but you describing it, I think, puts his performance into context and the way he kept cool. Yeah. Did you ever have that, particularly as a young player, where older pros are giving it you?
Oh, of course.
did you ever get sort of because I mean, look,
No,
I was never a pro, but I'd get riled up by that.
Nah, because I always try to play the game fairly, you know. Even if an older pro, I don't admit that type of vibe. They know who they can pick on, you know. And look, I didn't play against Argentina. They probably pick on anyone, and probably if they did pick on me, and I was in my egotistical way at that time, I probably would have lashed out. Well, we saw it with David Beckham when David Beckham and Simeone. Funnily enough, Simeone was a big part of it last night as well, getting involved. His son was part of it.
He's his father's son.
Like father, like son. But it shows that these type of characters are in the game, and you'll get that in South America. So if you go and play in South America, you'll see that there's loads of these type of games that you might get riled up if they get under your skin, but you've got to show so much maximum patience to get around it. Because ultimately, if you do mess up and you do react, you're gonna get sent off, and you've let your teammates down because you've talked about this at halftime or whenever you talked about it, saying, look, they're leaving a bit on. Do not react, and that's what happened. They didn't react, and that's the football won in the end.
I tell you what, mate, I told you last night, as much as I was giving it to Argentina, to the players, to the squad, I've got family over there. I've been to Buenos Aires so many times. I've played football out there, and let me tell you, the quality of grassroots football is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But the dark arts is ingrained in it, from a grassroots level. And I tell you what, I mean, I watched my mates play in Argentina more than I did play, but they are incredible. Like the standard of grassroots football, and I'm just talking about this at the time I was in my mid-20s, just playing every Saturday was unbelievable, but they are at it. And so it's part of the game.
And they'll definitely come for you as well, because you're a massive threat. Because by the way, if you didn't know, Max Scott, he's actually taller than me. Yeah, I'm 6'4". What are you, 6'5", 6'7"? So it just shows you. He's Peter Crouch with actually his limbs all together. Because Crouch, he's lanky. You're not. You're actually well put together. So,
well, I was never as good as Crouch.
Well, Crouch is a ledge. But I'm just saying, so they target you,
mate,
definitely,
pinching,
and then pinching and
poking,
because they'll be all smaller than you, so they want to get one up on you, and any way they can get an advantage over you or get in your head, they'll do that.
And the thing about me is, I'm not composed, so I wasn't able to sort of hold my nerves, right? So I just lost my head.
Okay,
but look, you've got. You know, I don't want to go too far. Last night was a disgraceful performance, but we need that in the game. We need that physicality, that passion, and that's in their best. That's what Argentina bring. I just thought they let themselves down yesterday.